Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're connecting from. My name is Marnie Holder. I'm the Director of Career Summits and Virtual Events for Hiring Our Heroes. We are happy to have you with us today on our Friday series of our virtual career community. Today is our feature Friday, and we are excited to have with us the great state of Ohio. And before I do the introduction to our team who's presenting today, I did just want to give a few admin notes of how this will all work. We do have a series of presenters that are going to present some awesome information, career opportunities. For those of you that have a question for any of our presenters, I encourage you to go to the Q&A feature at the bottom. The chat feature is available, but we're monitoring for the presenters the Q&A feature at the bottom. So put any questions you have down there, and we'll go ahead and tee those up at the end of our session. I believe these sessions are being recorded. This one is going to be recorded. If you miss it in its entirety, it'll be posted on our Hiring Our Heroes virtual career community page, so you can review at a later date if needed, or share with anyone else that may have missed the opportunity to connect today. All right, so without further ado, I want to turn it over to Ryan Blackburn, who's the program manager for the Ohio Department of Veterans Services. And I will let you take it from here to introduce our presenters from Amazon, Goodyear, and Haystack. Take the floor, Ryan.
Hi, Marnie. Thank you very much for the introduction, and welcome to everybody that's joined today. Thanks for taking some time on a Friday to learn a little bit more about Ohio and speak with some of our employers here in the great state of Ohio as well. Next slide, please. So what I will do is kind of explain Ohio in general, and then we're going to have some great employers speak, and they'll be answering any questions for you. So Ashley Frent from Amazon will be speaking first. Once I'm done, she's an engagement coordinator for Amazon. Then we'll have Mark Hellard from Haystack. He's one of their senior talent acquisition managers just outside Columbus, speak about some of their programs. And then Thomas Peoples Jr., a project manager and veteran with Goodyear, which is actually headquartered out of Akron, Ohio. So we'll get into those folks a little bit later, but like I said, I want to give a brief kind of introduction into the state. So whether you're out there, if you're from Ohio, and you just want to learn more about some of maybe the veteran-friendly stuff that the state has to offer, we'll get into some of that. If you're not from Ohio and it's brand new to you, we'll definitely get into some of that stuff as well. Why it's a great place, not just for veterans, but for families, for starting a career, and those sorts of things too. What I want you to get from this slide right here is the email address. And it'll be on the presentation throughout at the bottom of most slides. If you want to connect with me, connect with any of the employers, connect with a different employer in Ohio, want a resume to be looked at, have any questions at all, or just want to kind of stay in contact through your transition, workforce@dvs.ohio.gov, come straight to me. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out as we go through this. So like I said, that'll be on the bottom of most of the slides as we go through this as well. So feel free to connect with me that way. So quick overview about what we're gonna learn about here. We'll talk about just Ohio in general, the geographic location, some of the numbers, some of the stats, the economy. And then we'll really look into some of the more specifics like the cost of living, the family-friendly stuff, the veteran-friendly stuff. And then we're gonna kind of tie in the employment piece towards the end. And that's when we'll have our panelists that I just introduced come speak as well. We're really gonna fly through this information. This is gonna be a quick hour. I want to go through this information pretty quickly. I want our employers to have plenty of time, and then I want you in the audience to have plenty of time to connect with us one-on-one, ask some questions, use that chat feature as well, and we'll get going. So next slide, please. If you're not from Ohio or have no idea where Ohio is, if it's something brand new to you, we're actually the 7th largest state in the United States. We also have the 6th largest population in terms of veterans in the country as well, with about 730,000 veterans across the state of Ohio. We are very nicely centrally located. So if you have family in Chicago, Atlanta, along the East Coast, we're within about a day's drive of 40% of the US population. So it's a nice kind of central hub. That's why we get a lot of distribution, a lot of company headquarters in Ohio, just because of that stat of being within 40% of the US population. We also have the 7th largest economy, that's according to Forbes. So we do have a lot of great businesses. We have some great ones with us today as well, and they'll introduce themselves a little bit later. Next slide, please. So if you kind of zoom in on Ohio a little bit, you've probably heard of the three C's: the Columbus, which is the capital, Cleveland up on Lake Erie, and then Cincinnati down by the Kentucky border. Some of the other large cities are Dayton, Toledo, and Akron. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is our only active duty military installation, and that's just outside of Dayton, Ohio. Next slide. Some of the other areas you might not have heard of quite as much. You might have to hit the next slide. There you go. One of the great features that you don't really think of when you think of Ohio is some coastline. We have over 200 miles of coastline along Lake Erie. There's some great vacation islands up there as well, like Put-in Bay, Kelly's Island. Even in Eastern Ohio, we have a large Amish country where you can go sightseeing in Amish country. It's great in the fall with all the trees and the changing leaves and things like that. Next slide. And then Southeast, one of my favorite areas, a little closer for me in Columbus, that's where I am, is the Hocking Hills. It's a state park with just great caves and waterfalls, great hiking, zip lining, and I'll talk a little bit about that more later. But those are some of the other features of Ohio that you might not be too familiar with when you think of Ohio in general. So next slide, please. And I like that video. It kind of ties everything together. It shows a lot of different parts of the state. So if you have any questions about any of that, like I said, please just let me know. And we can talk more about specifics across the state. Some stats about living in Ohio, some cost of living stats. We're actually the number 2 most affordable state in the country, according to US News. Also have the number 2 quality of life, according to Forbes. There's a lot of different stats that go into that. One of the big things I look at is the cost of living index, which includes the cost of energy, food, healthcare, groceries, housing, transportation. It kind of wraps in the whole cost of living. And it actually, the top 10 cities in Ohio are either at or below the national average in the cost of living index, meaning your dollar goes a little further here in the state of Ohio. Next slide. Kind of more recently, I actually just found this article a couple of days ago. This was put out by LinkedIn just last week. They released this best cities to launch a career list. And I thought it was very interesting that Ohio has actually had 3 cities in the top 10, and that was Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus. No other state had 3 cities, had 3 cities in the top 10. And what a better, stat when you're transitioning out of the military, you really want to find those states that in cities where your dollar goes far, that average starting salary is higher, and you're not paying so much in rent to where they come up with this list as kind of best cities to launch a career. And we have Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus all in the top 10. Next slide, please. So let's look at some of the fun stuff. We're going to fly through this. Like I said, I want to give the employers plenty of time to interact with everybody out there. But some of the fun things in Ohio that you might not know about, we're kind of known as the roller coaster capital of the world. And that stems from two very large amusement parks, and that's Cedar Point, which actually sits up on Lake Erie, and then Kings Island, which is actually down outside of Cincinnati. Some great amusement parks. Both are rated in the top 10 amusement parks in the United States by the Travel Channel. So if you're looking for family-friendly stuff and some thrill-seeking adventures, those are the places to go. Next slide. Outdoors, I kind of touched on this a little bit ago. Hocking Hills is one of my favorite state parks, with the waterfalls and the caves and the hiking down in Southeast Ohio. There's actually 75 state parks across Ohio, and there's one national park, and that's Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which is just south of Cleveland. In the Hocking Hills, US Today rated as the best zip line in the country. And like I mentioned earlier, something you don't think about with Ohio often is that Lake Erie coastline, which is over 300 miles of coastline along the northern border of the state. Next slide. We have some great Hall of Fames here in Ohio as well. In Cleveland, we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which they do an induction ceremony every year. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is actually in Canton, Ohio, which is south of Akron. And they do the Hall of Fame induction ceremony every year and play the first preseason game of the NFL season in most typical seasons. This year might be the exception, but that first game is played there at the Hall of Fame as well. Next slide. Some great museums as well. The Cleveland Museum of Art, if you're an art enthusiast, is one of the best in the country. We actually have the National Museum of the Air Force, which is just outside of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton. I love taking my family there. It's a free 4 giant hangars full of just military memorabilia and a lot of family-friendly stuff there as well. And then just opening 2 years ago in Columbus was the National Veterans Memorial Museum. Just a great piece of architecture by looking at the picture. But they have a lot of great exhibits there focusing on veterans themselves, not so much military equipment or wartime stories, but this is actually focusing on the veterans themselves, and they have some great interactive displays in there as well. So some great museums here. Next slide. And then dinner and drinks. There's 143 wineries and vineyards across the state, scattered all around. The craft brew scene has exploded like in most places, and we have 230 plus breweries across the state. A lot of the cities are known as ethnic food paradises, where, again, you might not think of that when you think Ohio, but there's quite a lot of diversity in cuisine and the dinner and drink scene as well. Next slide. So looking at some of the other stuff, like education. So if you're looking to pursue higher education, Ohio is actually the first state in the country to offer in-state tuition rates to transitioning military members and veterans. We also passed a bill a few years ago that requires every public university in the state to have a veteran service office on campus. So if you want to go to a university here in the state, you have a direct veteran point of contact on that campus to help with the GI Bill, to help schedule classes, to help get you priority registration, and then to help you with any military transfer credit you might have as well. We're working constantly on military transfer assurance guides to help get you college credit for that military experience that you've had as well. And then in the world of kindergarten all the way up through high school, we founded what's called the Purple Star School Program, which recognizes elementary schools, middle schools, high schools across the state as being kind of military, family-friendly institutions as well. So we started that here in Ohio. I think a couple other states do that now as well. But that's a great recognition for those K through 12 programs. Next slide, please. Some of the veteran-specific stuff. So we have 88 counties in Ohio, and every single one of them has a veteran service office in the county to provide you support filing VA claims, to help with financial assistance, kind of anything veteran-specific. We have county-level support in every single county. So no matter where you're moving to in Ohio, you have that county-level support to help you with whatever veteran issues you may have. There's 5 large VA medical facilities. There's over 30 community-based outreach clinics across the state. If you're looking to start a business, we have 91,000 plus veteran-owned businesses, which is actually the 7th largest in the country. And then just back in January of this year, which I believe it just became enacted less than 30 days ago, we passed a bill that allows military and spouse license reciprocity. So if you're bringing a license over from another state that needs to be certified at the state level, we try to expedite that or give you temporary licensure here in the state of Ohio, so you can continue working as you cross state lines. Next slide, please. On the employment front, we have what's called Ohio Means Jobs, and a branch of that is Ohio Means Veterans Jobs. So if you go to that website, you can find great resume advice, military skills translator. You can look up the list of the 5,000 plus companies in Ohio that have registered as a military-friendly business. We have the Veterans Workforce Team, which is something I run through the State Department of Veterans Services. We have a team that's actually going out, working with employers every day and helping them understand what it means to be a veteran, what skills that you've acquired in the military that you can bring to the workforce. So when you're going into the interviews here with employers in Ohio, they already have a basic understanding and know how to read that resume and translate your skills already. There's great nonprofits like the Overwatch Partnership, which is a mentoring platform. Bunker Labs, which is a national organization, but they have posts here in Ohio, which is kind of a Shark Tank for if you want to start a business and you need some money, investment advice. Bunker Labs is specific on veteran starting businesses. The Department of Labor started awarding what's called a Medallion Award. That is kind of the Department of Labor's military-friendly recognition. They actually awarded that to 19 employers here in the state last year, and that was the first year they started doing the program. So a lot of great employment opportunities here in the state of Ohio as well. Next slide, please. And we actually have 24 Fortune 500 companies that are headquartered here in Ohio. Goodyear is with us today. I know last time we presented, we had Nationwide and American Electric Power. We have the Limited, which covers Bath and Body Works, some of those organizations, Wendy's, headquartered here, Macy's, Cardinal Health, which is one of the largest companies in the world, is here in Columbus, Ohio as well. So some great Fortune 500 companies along with the small businesses makes Ohio really that great place to find employment as well. Next slide. And that's what's going to lead us right into our employer panel. So we have the 3 organizations that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. We have Ashley from Amazon. Mark is going to present from Haystack and explain some of their veteran-friendly stuff. And then Thomas from Goodyear is going to present as well. Next slide, please. So with that, I know we flew through a lot of that, so please email if you have any questions. But then I think we're going to let Ashley take it away here.
It's the same thing we do every day in the military. You work with limited resources, you work with limited time, and you work with individuals and leaders who want to be there just as much as you.
One of the nice things is that I'm used to working with acronyms. One of the tough things is I had no idea what Amazon acronyms were. So that was a little bit challenging at first.
I started Amazon immediately after leaving my uniform behind. So first shock was, do I have to buy a suit? Do I have to buy a tie? I've never had to, choose what I wear to work. So that was, one key factor of working in a warehouse. What do you have to wear today? Jeans and a t-shirt.
Getting used to a little bit of a softer side of work. You have to speak a little bit differently.
I make sure every day I'm out on the floor engaging with the associates, talking to them, trying to eliminate as many barriers as possible to make the process easier for them.
The group of individuals that I work with along the group of managers, there are so many ex-military that sometimes we just start talking about the old days and we all kind of get each other. We get together on the weekends and we hang out.
I use a lot of stuff from that I've learned in the military, and I brought it here, coming to work on time, respecting a lot of co-workers, and bringing my fun attitude in here, and just being just well-rounded and disciplined.
A really good pace in the military, similar to Amazon. So I think those are the people coming out of the military are accustomed to high pressure, and I think that it's a good fit for military people.
For me, as a fighter pilot coming into an industry that was completely different, it was intimidating. And there are a lot of pilots who go straight into the airlines because they think this is the only thing that I can do. But I think what the military has trained you to do is to be smart, flexible, and adaptable. And those skills are almost innate and can't really be taught necessarily. You kind of either have them or you don't. And those honestly are the skills that are needed to be able to be successful at Amazon. My advice is to maintain that flexibility and adaptability because it will serve you well here.
Okay, so thank you so much for having me on. Just a little bit about myself. I've been with Amazon over a year and a half. I actually worked with L Brands prior to that with Victoria's Secret as a store manager and recruiting. I started with Amazon. I came on as an L5 as a senior area manager running the outbound ship dock, and I recently transitioned over to kind of the corporate side in recruiting. So very excited to be speaking with you guys today. We're going to really focus on just the hourly kind of positions that we offer here at Amazon to really streamline it and get a lot in this next few minutes. So we can go on to that first slide. So medical coverage. So everyone that starts off a part-time position, after 90 days, you automatically get your vision and your dental. Those that join on at full-time, you are eligible for medical, dental, and vision on day one. So as soon as you accept that offer letter, you are covered. Which is great to know that you have that coverage. Some time off options that we do have at Amazon. Everyone starts off with 10 hours of what's called unpaid time. So that's something where you save it for an emergency that happens and your job is not in jeopardy. We also have where you can accrue up to 48 hours of paid time off each year, as well as 160 hours of vacation time yearly as well. Something that really sticks out is our military spouse deployment benefit. As a spouse, you can get up to 2 paid days and 2 unpaid days off, really just to adjust for that pre or post deployment. So that's something that we really value here at Amazon to take care of our military family. Extra time opportunities, we offer what's called mandatory extra time, which when you select your shift here at Amazon, you'll pick a day that you are willing to work overtime, should that be called. When our customers are clicking, we answer. So it's a great time to get that time and a half pay. Typically, we start off at $15 an hour. There's also what's called voluntary extra time. So that's a time when you can scroll on an app on your phone that you'll be able to download as a new Amazonian and see what extra hours you can pick up when you're available, which is also a nice option. Here at Amazon, we have multiple shift options. Those update online every Friday after 6 p.m. So if you log on right now and you see a facility where they don't quite have the hours that you want to work, log back on after 6 o'clock tonight, and all those sites will update for Northeast Ohio at again, 6 p.m. Okay, so we can move on to the next slide. Dress code. So as you saw in that video, it's a very relaxed dress code. You want to make sure that you can move around comfortably, but also safely. So in the warehouse, we have about 25 miles of conveyors, and you could easily get caught in that with your hair or your clothes being too baggy. Someone runs over it with a pallet jack. So again, you want to make sure that your jeans aren't dragging the floor. You can wear a t-shirt, but again, nothing too loose, but it is a comfortable atmosphere even on the corporate side of things. You have to be able to lift up to 49 pounds. We always joke around too that you're going to be standing or walking for up to 4 to 10 hours a day. You will be walking and standing your entire shift. So that's something where no matter what position that you are, if you are a manager, you have standing desks, so you're standing and walking around as well. And when you go through this presentation, once you get hired on at Amazon, that's the joke where this is the last time you actually will be sitting. So even us here, we have standing desks as well. Maybe asked to operate power industrial trucks, but that's great if you already have training in that, but you never want to just jump on a piece of machinery here. You want to make sure that you get trained the Amazon way. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So typical growth at Amazon. You can't fixate on the fact that it's an hourly opportunity.
because there are so many other options and so many benefits of working at Amazon. So growth, positive work attitude, leadership skills, job performance, productivity, and quality. All of this is positive exposure, and knowledge gained in the field is really going to help promote you. So the one thing at Amazon is that there is always opportunity, and you kind of get what you put into it out of it. So if you want to get promoted, you work hard, let your manager know, and they'll come up with a plan with you to get you where you want to be. And there is very much so rapid growth here daily, and internal promotion is very important. Okay, so go to the next slide. We also have career choice programs that you can see. As you read that, eligible programs include transportation and commercial driver's license, healthcare and laboratory services, information technology and computer science. We have it for mechanical and skilled trade, and paralegal studies as well. So that's something that you can learn more as you join us on our Amazon team, and they offer reimbursement as well, and up to that $3,000 maximum per year for up to 4 years a total of $12K. So that's something great that our company really does offer for their education. Okay. Typical shift schedules, we offer both full-time and part-time opportunities. The part-time shifts are 3 to 4 days a week, 4 to 5 hours a day typically. Full-time is 4 to 5 days a week, 8 to 12 hours a day. We are very flexible, so we offer morning, midday, and late overnight shifts as well. Full-time shifts usually include that 1 weekend day, and that does not include your overtime day, again, that you would select. Most of our buildings are open that 365 days a year, and we do offer holiday pay as well. So we can move on to that next slide. Okay, and again, what's the work environment like? So again, just like packages, our buildings come in many sizes. We have here in Ohio, we have about 9 fulfillment centers that are over 1 million square feet. So when you think about that, safety is truly key. And that's something that you get extensive training on. So there's a lot of opportunity to get hurt, but you'll learn how to do your job safely and quickly and effectively to get our packages out to our customer. We also have sortation centers, delivery stations, and whole food locations. We're also launching 4 additional buildings here come the end of summer and fall. So, and that's just in Northeast Ohio alone. So there's definite opportunity for growth and for positions as well with us. So comfortable shoes, again, that just goes with being comfortable. You're going to be on your feet all day walking. Safety is key. No cell phones on the floor. If I were in the building right now, my hair would have to be worn up above the shoulders for safety. And then we really focus on that quality for our customer. So you want to make sure when you're coming to Amazon that you do have a passion for, making people happy. You see the smile on our logo is underneath Amazon. And one way we really value our military Amazonians is that we have our own military logo that you might have seen in the beginning, but the smile is actually extended from the M to the A in military to symbolize that transition from military to Amazon as well. Okay, and next slide. Okay, and this is quickly just what to know about our jobs. Depending on what building or site that you get hired into, you have to remember that it is very physical. The biggest thing to take away from this is to take care of yourself outside of work. Make sure you get enough sleep, you're eating healthy, and again, just preparing yourself for those long days of work. Even if you are, lifting packages all day and you think you're doing kind of the same movement, think about doing that for 5-6 days in a row. That definitely takes a toll on you for, up to those 12-hour days. So biggest thing is, again, really take the safety training that we offer seriously and ask questions if you have any when you're actually in the moment there. And we can move on to the next slide. All right, so learning at Amazon. So it's an active job. Performance management, you will have your manager. Some teams are led, I know I had about 150 direct reports at a time. And the one thing we really promote is that everyone's development is taken seriously. So don't ever feel that if it's such a big environment that you're just going to get lost in the wayside there. You want to make sure that you are vocal about what you want to do with your career, and your manager will help you get there as well. There's a learning curve. Over the first few weeks, you'll be partnered with a learning partner on how to do the job safely, effectively, and quickly, because rate is very important as well. If we think about the one-day shipping that we offer, during the holiday, we processed 45,000 packages over an hour, and that was pretty much daily over that holiday season. So it is a very fast-paced job. And you can go to the next slide. All right, so we do also have a group of warriors at Amazon, and it's an affinity group led by Amazonians passionate about supporting veterans. So that is made up, actually the group was established on September 11th of 2011. Any Amazonian can join. It's made up of Amazonians who have served, who are still serving, their families, and also Amazonians who support them. So this is something that is very near and dear to our heart, especially about growing this chapter in this Northeast Ohio area. And one thing too that I want to point out, if you are active or you have an active family member, that the great thing about Amazon is transferring is very easy. So you don't have to just stay in Ohio if you do have to move. It doesn't mean that you won't be successful with our company. There's very much so job flexibility in transition, and performance and promotion opportunity is also a perk with us. So that's something that is very much shared with the Warriors of Amazon, and that we have 7,000 members growing in our chapter. So go ahead and next slide. And then finally, so last year Amazon pledged to hire 25,000 veterans as part of our Joining Forces commitment here. And we actively partner with our SOCOM Care Coalition with assistant programs to help facilitate smooth transitions. And there are just a lot of different opportunities that once you join Amazon, I would be happy to go more in depth one-on-one on LinkedIn or whatnot, but there are so many facets to Amazon. I can't cover everything, but hopefully this gives a little bit of an insight on what we have to offer. So again, thank you for your services and allowing me to speak with you today about Amazon.
Ashley, thank you very much for that introduction. A lot of information to take there, so please reach out to Ashley, use that chat window, ask questions, and just let us know how we can help you. And we'll move on to our next presenter as well, and that's going to be Mark Hellard from Haystack, just outside of Columbus. And Mark, take it away.
Thanks, Ryan. And we'll go ahead and move to the next slide on the presentation. And first, I wanted to say I'm really excited to join everyone today, and I wanted to take a second to thank Marnie, Alyssa, and Ryan for coordinating this for us. We know that Hiring Our Heroes is a critical and impactful organization, so we are honored to be partnering with them as well as the state of Ohio, so I really appreciate that. First, a little bit of background on myself. I've actually been with Mission Essential and Haystack for the last 10 years. Our corporate headquarters is out of the Columbus, Ohio area in New Albany. So I wanted to first take some time to go over a little bit of the Mission Essential story first, because that is our larger company. So just to kind of take it back, originally our two founders were former special operations veterans that were hired as defense contractors to be site managers in Iraq for both translators and linguists. And when they were on the ground in Iraq and they finished giving their orientation, their onboarding for the linguists, one thing that they found out is their employers kind of pulled them aside and said that actually the linguists were being misled. The information that they were presenting them, they had no intention of honoring that. They were only giving the linguists and the translators that information to retain them and get them on board. So our founders, decided that they didn't want to operate that way. They let the linguists and the translators that they had just trained know, that they were being lied to and they were being misled. And what they did is they took both of their signing bonuses, which was $1,200 each, pulled those together, they resigned, and they started Mission Essential back in 2004 in their own garage. So, fast forward a few years later, Mission Essential was awarded and continues to operate on the largest language services contract in the history of the Department of Defense. So what we did is we took that success and we grew our intelligence business, our training and technical services divisions, and we continued to acquire a number of other companies and entities that specialize in security and cybersecurity. And after all of that, we went on to form Haystack. So I'll go ahead and I'll have you go to the next slide there. And enterprise-wide, we have grown in quite large. Currently, we have 45 recruiters, and we operate in 47 different countries. So we went on to form the Haystack division, and what that is providing the same service and support that we've been providing to the government and military, but to private industry. So what we're here to help everyone with that's transitioning veterans or getting close to transitioning is the two different groups, whether it's Mission Essential or Haystack. On the Mission Essential side, we would be interested in connecting with you if you are a cleared intelligence professional, or if you're a professional in another concentration that holds a security clearance, an individual that has a language services background, whether they're a linguist or a former translator, and to focus on our Haystack side of the business, that is where we focus on all of the private industry. So mainly we are focused in the IT space, so IT professionals like developers, architects, engineers, individuals with security and cybersecurity experience, individuals with project management. Now, Haystack, although we are focused on IT, we're not IT limited. So we have a number of other clients that we're supporting where we're looking for individuals with accounting and finance backgrounds, backgrounds in human resources, or backgrounds in marketing and communication. So all of those different concentrations are opportunities that we can source for you, as well as opportunities that our clients rely on us for. So if you have any other questions, please, direct them to me. I wanted to give everybody our website. It's www.haystackllc.com. And there you'll see our current job offerings. You can connect with a recruiter. And also I encourage everybody, my contact information should be with Hiring Our Heroes as well, to reach out to me directly. And we look forward to, connecting with anybody who's currently in this position of transitioning out, because we know that can be kind of a difficult path to navigate. Please, reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn, or anyone from Haystack or Mission Essential that you see. And I believe that's all that I have today for our section. I just appreciate everybody's time.
Mark, thank you very much. That was a lot of great information, a lot of great roles that are available there, especially with security clearances in the IT space as well. So like Mark said, feel free to connect with all of us on LinkedIn as well. It's a great way to stay in touch or connect about job opportunities, or just career advice in general. I think we're all more than happy to help in that space. Thomas with Goodyear is going to be next. Last but certainly not least, he has some great programs. Goodyear, a great employer here in the state of Ohio. So Thomas, I'll let you take it away.
I need to start my video and unmute myself. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to go ahead and thank everybody for allowing me and Goodyear to participate in this event. As a veteran, as somebody who's working for Goodyear, I think there's an opportunity here to really, if somebody's looking to transition and go to work for a good company here in Northeast Ohio, Goodyear is a good place to start. So what I'll do in my presentation, I'll tell you, I have a corporate presentation. It's about 117 slides. Just kidding. There's about a handful of slides here, a dozen slides we'll go through. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my own particular, my personal journey at Goodyear. And then between those two, those two things, you should be, we could then kind of talk about if there are any questions about, Goodyear and its support of the military and where you could potentially be. So I'll go ahead with the next slide. Yeah, so the takeaway from this slide is we're a 120-year-old company founded basically here in Akron, Ohio. So if you look to the left of the timeline, back in 1898, we started with basically bicycle and carriage tires. And then if you go to about the middle of the chart, 60s and 70s, a couple of things. You know, we were the first company to have a tire that go over 600 miles an hour. And actually, there were Goodyear tires on the moon, so that was us. And then going to 2013, towards the right here, we opened our new corporate headquarters in Akron, Ohio. It's a pretty fantastic facility. Unfortunately, right now, with all of the things that are going on, I'm working remotely, but you know, when it's time, we'll go back to the building. It's a pretty neat building. Next slide, please. So, who are we, right? We're one team driving performance on the road marketplace and throughout the company. We are the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. So we make tires, we provide service to the automotive industry, and we are also a rubber company. One of the things that's also interesting, and you'll just have to take my word for it, but if you look at these pictures in our brochures, these are all Goodyear associates. So even in that picture where there are folks that are working on that Honda Civic, that guy who appears to be doing something under the hood is me. I assure you, the only car I work on is my own. But what they do is they collect people periodically and say, hey, if you want free lunch, we can go take some pictures of you, and you end up in brochures. But talk about that. But everybody else really is an associate that works at Goodyear. Next slide, please. This is our strategy roadmap. It's really broken into 3 areas. I could probably spend an hour going through this, but really we talk about in the top left, how we'll win. We continue to focus on innovation excellence, sales and marketing excellence, and operational excellence. So innovation, I'll get to my bio, but I'm a tire engineer. I work in our innovation center. Sales and marketing excellence, that includes supply chain. And operational excellence is really our manufacturing organization. When we talk about our core, how we'll work, that really is our core values. So when you think about any of the services and the core values, really these are our Goodyear's core values. And then the bottom is where we'll focus. It's by no mistake that quality is in the middle of our roadmap, and then it's flanked by customer service and high value segments, and then the consumer experience and mastering complexity are also down there. Next slide, please. So what do? We make tires for consumers, and really we focus on the consumer purchasing experience, consumer being the end user. We also collaborate with our customers. In our Goodyear world, the customer is the person that actually we are B2B, business to business. We don't sell tires to people, we sell tires to businesses who then sell tires to people. And then we also focus on quality and the innovative products. Next slide. By the numbers, we do about 155 million tires annually. We're a $14.7 billion company. Thousands of patents. We've been around for 120 years. We have 47 facilities in 21 different countries. We have 2 significant innovation centers with 2 additional innovation centers. Our corporate headquarters and our technical headquarters is in Akron, Ohio. Our European corporate technical headquarters and corporate headquarters and technical headquarters is in Luxembourg, tiny country, nestled between Germany, France, and Belgium. And 63,000 associates worldwide, and get about over 1,000 Goodyear service centers, Goodyear stores, etc. Okay. Next slide. Yeah, so this is a map to show where we're at, right? So we are everywhere. We do about 70 million tires a year in the Americas. That's North America and Latin America, or South America. 55 million in Europe, Middle East and Africa, and then Asia Pacific, 30 million. A big chunk of that is China. Next slide, please. So if you look at our businesses, we have consumer, which is basically your car, light truck. We have racing, so we are the exclusive supplier to NASCAR. Commercial, which is your radial medium truck or your 18-wheeler trucks and garbage trucks and things like that. Off the road, big earth moving vehicles. The largest tire we make is about 13 feet tall, weighs about 9,000 pounds. We are the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, so we make a lot of our own chemicals and compounds. So we actually have a chemical division, and then I actually work in our aviation division. We design aircraft tires. Next slide. Okay, we can't not talk about the fact that we have significant efforts around sustainability and preserving our planet. Our headquarters building is a LEED certified gold building. So again, we are good stewards of the environment around the world. Next slide. Technology. So we look at technology in kind of three levels. The step is we move things forward a little bit. Jump is what it sounds like. That's kind of the next wave of technology, and the leap is where we're going into. We're pushing into boundaries or beyond boundaries outside of our conventional things, like smart tires that have chips in them that communicate back to the vehicle. Next slide. We get recognized all over the world for a lot of different reasons. One of the ones that I'm particularly proud of, and I'll talk about this in my own personal story in the top left, right? We continue to be a military-friendly employer. We have won the Ohio Pro Patria Award. We've won the award, the National Freedom Award that was given to us by the Secretary of Defense for an extraordinary support of Guard of Reserve. And then this past year, we won another state level extraordinary support of Guard and Reservists. So we get recognized across the world for the different things that we're doing. Next slide, please. Yeah, so again, everybody should be familiar with, if not one of the most iconic marketing devices in the world, the Goodyear blimp. We use it in branding. Our airships are innovative. In fact, the current airships are not actually blimps, they're actually Zeppelins. We co-designed with the Zeppelin company in Germany. So they're not really blimps anymore, they're Zeppelins. Just a tiny tidbit. Next slide. And I think that's it. So a little bit about myself. My name's Tom Peoples. Prior to working for Goodyear, I was a surface warfare officer in the United States Navy, did NROTC through Rochester Institute of Technology. After I graduated RIT, I served afloat on the USS Fletcher and the USS Hewitt. So I was in Hawaii, Yokosuka, then San Diego. I've been with Goodyear 21 years. I started off as a tire engineer, and this is kind of important. So at Goodyear, I started off as a tire engineer. Spent about the first 5 years of my time at Goodyear as a tire engineer, designing tires in a cube, learning about the process, learning about our product, and designing tires. While I was a tire engineer, I went back and got my master's degree, 100% funded by Goodyear. From there, I went down to our proving grounds in San Angelo, Texas, which is a 7,250-acre test facility, 58 miles of roads, 300 vehicles, ranging from golf carts to big earth mover vehicles. Spent about 5 years at the proving grounds in various roles, and I went to our Danville, Virginia truck and aircraft tire manufacturing facility and spent a couple of years as a quality manager in the factory. From there, came back to Akron, Ohio, which is where I started in a project manager role in marketing. So I spent 2 years in marketing. Then from there, came back into our technical organization as a team leader for in customer engineering. And customer engineering, in our vernacular, are the technical support for sales. So you have a sales guy that goes out and is trying to sell the product, but you have to have a technical guy or gal there to sort of offset or balance some of the things that they may want to say or not say. Anyway, did customer support for a couple of years and got an opportunity to go to Brazil. Spent 2 years, 2015 to 2017, took my family down to Brazil, was at the proving grounds in Brazil, working with the original equipment manufacturers for cars, so Chrysler, Fiat, Ford, Volkswagen down in Brazil. and our proving grounds, and then came back to Akron in 2017 as a chief engineer in our tire engineering world, was a chief engineer at our Akron Test Center, and right now I'm a project manager for aviation. So I have a team of engineers that I support that develops new aircraft tires. My point about Goodyear and its military, my experience has been one, I've done it, right? So I don't need to tell you about what we have to offer. I can tell you the things that I've done. I love the travel. I love getting new challenges in different kinds of environments. And for the last 21 years, I've been able to get that in Goodyear. We've got a number of programs where we work with folks like Hiring Our Heroes or Higher Purpose, or these different organizations that bring folks together to make sure we're getting the top talent. I'll also say there was a mention of the different employee resource groups. Amazon mentioned one, which is fantastic. We have 7 different employee resource groups that are affinity groups. So I am actually the serving president of our Goodyear Veterans Association. So we are veterans, Guard, reservist, OHMR. So Ohio has a militia, not really the militia, but the Ohio Military Reserve. So we have anybody that's interested in working with veterans, anybody that has been a veteran, anybody that's part of family of a military, or you just want to hang out with folks that like to talk military. That's kind of what our Veterans Association does. We're also out, if you look at the different affinity groups, ours is most affiliated with professional development and service. So we do a lot of big community service projects out there in the community. That is a whole lot in a little bit of time, and I want to be respectful of the fact that there's a QA portion of this. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there, and turn it back over to, I believe, Ryan.
Tom, thanks very much. That was a great overview. A lot of great positions there, Goodyear, and opportunity to travel quite a bit too, which sounds like a great thing in my book too. So, Tom, thanks very much. Marnie, I'll pass the torch back to you. I know there was one question that popped up. I don't know if we have any more, but feel free to get those questions in. So, Marnie, you can take it away.
Okay, great. Yeah, we do have just a few minutes left before we wrap up, but the question that did come in, and I wanted to turn this over to each of our participants. You mentioned certain ways to get in touch with you, but I think it would be good to just restate the best way to make contact with you should any of the participants have any follow-on questions. So Ashley, I'll turn it over to you first, and then we'll go through everyone else. Best way to reach you.
Okay, you can find me on LinkedIn, Ashley Friend, F-R-I-E-N-T as in Tom, and then I can be reached at afriend@amazon.com.
Great, thanks. And then I'll go to Mark.
Hi there. Yeah, the best way to contact me would be similarly on LinkedIn. It would be Mark, M-A-R-K, last name Hellard, H-E-L-L-A-R-D. And my email address is my name. It's mark.hellard, and that's at haystackllc.com.
And for me, again, LinkedIn is going to be probably the methodology of choice, and I'm Thomas Peoples Jr. With some other letters behind that. But yeah, there's a couple of us out there, but you can tell by the picture.
Great, thanks. And then Ryan?
Yep, I'll keep it the same. LinkedIn is probably the best way to reach me. You can search me on there, Ryan Blackburn. I think my name displays under my video here. Or that email address I gave you earlier. Again, that's workforce@dvs.ohio.gov. If you Google the Ohio Veteran Services as well, you can get to our page and find my contact information there. But if you want a quick and easy way, just message me on LinkedIn or send that to the generic email box.
Great, thanks to everyone. Very, very thorough information, and I know from the participants, you'll probably be getting some activity very soon. So it's always great to have the great state of Ohio join us, and it's neat to see, for those of you that are joining in, it's rare that a state pulls together all of these types of very focused opportunities for for veterans and military spouses. So it's great to have this model, and this is the second time we've had Ohio on, and multiple companies joining us. So really appreciate that. Thomas, you had something else to add?
I did. I guess I'm used to teams looking to try and figure out how to raise my hand. One of the things I just wanted to throw out there again, as we look at the opportunities at Goodyear, I would strongly recommend, if anybody is interested in learning more about our company, it's www.goodyear.com/careers, and that's really going to give you the opportunity to see, what is actually out there. We are hiring in some specific roles and specific areas. I mean, the disruption has certainly impacted things, but we're a big company. We're continually growing and replacing folks and looking for that top talent all over the country, really. And actually, the Goodyear.com/careers will, I believe, based on where your ISDN is coming in, may or may not give you access to the international stuff, but it certainly will give you the access to our opportunities in North America.
Great, thanks for that. And I did want to turn over to Ashley or Mark if you had any other closing comments before we wrap this up.
No, I'm all set here, Marnie. I appreciate it. I feel like this has been an informative session for myself, for the other companies, and just encourage anyone to reach out if there's anything I can assist with. Thanks.
Yeah, same here. If anyone is interested in applying, you just simply want to go on to amazon.force.com. We've been hiring through COVID-19, so we hired about 175,000 people across Amazon as seasonals, and right now we've been able to transition 125,000 of those into regular positions. So we definitely are still always hiring.
Great, thanks. And then Ryan, I'll let you have the final parting remarks.
Thanks, Marnie. And I just want to say thanks to Hiring Our Heroes. These are great events that are continuing kind of in this virtual world that we're living in. And then just to the audience, feel free to reach out to any of us, ask questions. That's something I wish I did as I transitioned out of the military more and had this opportunity to connect one-on-one right here with an employer or another veteran. So please reach out, please connect with us, and let us know how we can help you. Thanks again, Marnie.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everyone. The website on your screen right now is where you can go for this recorded session, or if you want to look for any of our previously recorded sessions, also to register for upcoming sessions as well. So appreciate everyone attending, and be well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Everybody continue to be safe.
Thanks.
Thank you.